Right, hi folks, it's 6 p.m. It's Monday, the 7th of October 2024. As some of you are aware, I'm in the middle of doing a whole bunch of filming because I've invested my life savings into doing a documentary on the history of Western astrology. And I found myself a great producer stroke, second cameraman stroke, dog's body, and a great videographer and a great fixer who does all my flights and hotel bookings, and somehow these people have just fallen into my laps, and I'm paying them, of course, as little as I can get away with, but they're worth every penny and a lot more. And we've been to a number of countries, and now we're off on the biggest trip. Tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. I'm on my way to Greece to go to Mount Olympus, to the Oracle at Delphi, the Temple of Hephaestus, the Acropolis, the Parthenon, and to interview a number of Greek astrologers, and then the Colosseum, the Temple of Vulcan, and the Temple of Hestia in Rome, before going on to Florence to look at the Medicis and Bologna to look at the astrological symbolism there, which is quite a lot, before returning to the UK in about 12 days' time. And this is the last big trip I'm doing on the European filming end of this documentary. Then I've got 2 months in the studio trying to piece it all together, doing the backdrop in front of a green screen. So of course readings are getting delayed. I've got a couple of weeks of readings next week, which have been booked for months. And I'm going to fit people in where I can before really diving headfirst back into readings again around late December and the early new year. At the same time, I'm heading into this. It seems like it's the craziest time of the year. Now, I know I've said this before, but the world's changing really fast. I know I've repeated this in another video, so I'm just going to repeat myself succinctly and concisely. We've had the new moon eclipse, which was great if you were on Easter Island. The grand trine of Venus in Scorpio, Mars in Cancer, and Saturn in Pisces that's been dominant over this last week is now petering out, and we're heading into the business part of the next month. In the next few days, things are relatively quiet. Both Jupiter and Pluto are about to stand still and go retrograde, which is pretty weird, seeing as I'm heading into the land of Zeus and Hades. Hope their wisdom rubs off on me. On the 10th, we have a quarter moon. I don't normally talk about quarter moons, but this quarter moon will be opposite Mars and square the sun. So you're going to have sun opposite Mars, moon opposite Mars, both of them square the sun. That's pretty feisty and pokey, and that suggests short-term volatility and quite acerbic, incisive, sharp actions. Immediately followed the next day on the 11th by the moon conjuncting retrograde Pluto in Capricorn, which is the last time that the moon will conjunct Pluto retrograde in Capricorn for 225 to 30 years, because Pluto will move into Aquarius within a couple of weeks from now. This is then followed on the 17th by the full moon, with the sun and moon at 24 degrees of Libra and Aries, Mars at 23 degrees of Cancer, and Pluto at 29 degrees of Capricorn. So the sun opposite moon will both be square Mars and squaring Pluto, suggesting that ongoing conflicts, whether global or personal, are going to become more and more entrenched, and there's going to be more volatility. And then as we get into the second half and the latter part of October, Mars moves more and more forward into the end of Cancer, eventually coming into direct opposition to Pluto at the very start of November, just before the American election. Mars opposite Pluto at 29 degrees of Cancer and Capricorn is a kind of finale to a month of helter-skelter, incisive action. And yes, a lot of astrologers are going, oh my God, there's going to be war, violence, aggression, and it's going to go nuclear. And yes, the signatures are all in place for that to happen. However, the planets impel, they don't compel. And I like to think on the positive side. So I've told all my students and all my membership, because they get all the videos that the normal world don't. Normal world, excuse my French. I've told all the people who I'm regularly in touch with that, like, you know, the planets impel, they don't compel. Yes, the iconography and the aspect patterns of the next 3 weeks are incredibly difficult. But there's an equally strong positive alternative here. Whether we're talking about individuals, collectives such as groups, communities and neighbourhoods, environments, or larger collectives like nation states, yeah, you can get your buttons pushed and you can say or do something born out of haste and impatience and impulsiveness and volatility, and it can get very explosive. Or you can act in a way that is cold, calm, detached, objective, impersonal, incisive, direct. You can go and dig the garden. You can get down the gym. You can walk the dog. You can do something that uses your energy so that it doesn't use you. You can act in a way that is very much yes, no, and black and white, without it being cruel or callous and without causing harm to other. This is very much a question of act locally, think globally. Millions of people acting locally, doing little random acts of kindness, using their energy, getting out there and sweating, doing things in their garden, getting fit, cleaning the sidewalk, helping one's neighbours. Yeah, these are minute little things, droplets. But 1 billion droplets make a tsunami. And there's a tsunami already building out there of aggression and nastiness. And my God is better than your God. And my gun is bigger than your gun. And as individuals, it seems like we're powerless. And everyone's wringing their hands and going, oh, isn't it awful? Why can't someone do something? Well, it starts here. So everyone can do something. And it's all about intent. Not intention, but intent. To carry the intent of positive kindness and goodness without getting all fluffy about it. Put something positive into the world. Put some positive energy into the world over the next 3 weeks. It's so easy for you just to go, oh, listen to him. What does he know? He's talking rubbish. Let's just get off his channel. Fine, if that's what you want, go ahead. But for those of you who actually want to make a difference, in this next 3 weeks, the quality of energy out there, yes, it's difficult, but if you can get on the good side of it, you're going to be able to get results like you normally can't. And it's a time where you can make big steps forward. You can achieve something. You can feel proud of yourself. You can feel charged, vitalised, dynamic, projective and assertive, and you can make a difference, not only in your life and in the life of the world around you and in other people's lives, but you can do something that's going to make you look back in weeks and months to come and say, yeah, I'm proud of myself. I behaved ethically, morally, with a clean conscience, and I did my best to do good. And that is something that will stick with you for the rest of your life. Now, I tried to do this video a few days ago and I ended up talking about the sovereignty of women. I can't get away from this at the moment. The more I'm looking at the astrology of what's going on around me, the more it seems as if it's just funneling into me, and I'm looking at what I call the dark feminine. For example, I'm looking at all of the planetary energies and I can't help it, in almost every case, I'm seeing the dark feminine. The only exceptions to this are possibly Mercury, which is androgynous anyway, and Mars, which is all about one's masculine, projective and assertive energies regardless of gender. But the sultry and persuasive and sometimes overhyped side of Venus can be mistaken. And the dark side of Venus, and when I say dark, I don't mean negative, it can use charm and elegance to get what it wants, but it can also use charm and elegance to get what is right. Even Jupiter, I'm beginning to sense a feminine energy about it in its obverse or reverse, because when Jupiter and Hades and Poseidon ganged up on their father, they did so with the help of Demeter, Hestia and Juno. Zeus married his sister Hera. They had lots of children. They had a father, god, king and queen, the emperor and empress of the Olympians. I think that Hera is vastly underrated. Juno, as she is in Roman and Greek, in Roman mythology and in astrological terminology. And I can see a side of Jupiter that is brimming with compassion. Saturn certainly has a dark female side, as I've recognised in this last 4 or 5 years. It is cold. It is not merciless, but it is ruthless, similar to the Pluto dark feminine. It gets things done when necessary, and it acts with a kind of dark kindness. It does what needs to be done, but instead of doing it in a cold, detached, merciless way, it does so in a way that is necessary but nurturing. It kills and it cures. It flays away what is dead, worn, eroded, useless, past its sell-by date, but then it nurtures what's left. Similarly with dark Pluto, the dark feminine, the destroyer. It eliminates, it purges, it purifies, it heals, it transforms and rebirths. There's a dark feminine side to Uranus. Uranus was the sky god, Gaia was the earth goddess. Equal and opposite, and not enough attention has been paid to Gaia as the earth goddess until recent times. Even Poseidon, Neptune, has a feminine side because of the imaginal, the dream, the vision, the creative. What's fascinating is that while I'm in Greece, I'm going to be talking to a recent graduate of the MA programme who's arguing that old stereotypes of the sun as masculine and the moon as feminine are outmoded, and it's time, especially in this day and age where there's more and more gender diversity, for the ideas of masculine and feminine energy when relating to the sun and moon to be discussed, debated, with new options considered. For far too long, the usage of astrology has been done in a patriarchal way. The majority of astrologers in the world are women. It's just unfortunate that the majority of the astrologers in the UK are men. Don't get me started on that one. And it seems that most of us so-called successful authors are men, or at least until recent times. There's a balance, there's an imbalance, and it's shifting. In times of warfare, the tide of aggression and violence is only matched by the upsurge in the demand for compassion, kindness, empathy, and consideration to those who can't help themselves. How can we call ourselves human when we persecute others simply because of their religion, their colour, their nationality, their wealth, or their gender? When I see what's happening in Afghanistan, I want to scream. And it's not just Afghanistan, it's so many countries in the world. I just want to scream. Time for the dark feminine to start re-emerging and to reclaim her rightful place right up there, parallel alongside everyone else. Time for us as a species to become more integrated, wholesome and complete. And I have to hope and pray that these times that we're in now is a necessary prelude to a breakthrough in consciousness because the alternative is a descent into a dystopian future of savagery, ego, and patriarchy. And that will be a complete failure of the human experience. Right, rant over. I'm going to go up Mount Olympus in the next couple of days, and I'm going to go to the Oracle at Delphi, and I'm going to try and get a grip on the origin of astrological myth. My students will get the reports first, but I'll report to everyone. Take care, folks. Act wisely in the next few weeks. Lots of love. Bye.